This is the story you are tweeting about most tonight. Rape accusations against Bill Cosby. The woman you just heard claims Cosby assaulted her in 2005. Now, Evie, you believe she is telling the truth. In fact, you seem certain so. How can you be so certain?
Yeah, this is very difficult because I did grow up watching The Cosby Show. I grew up, loving Bill Cosby, but I have to be objective here. And based on what I'm seeing and the interview she's giving, first of all, her demeanor, her speech, it's all very truthful. She said something also that struck me. At one point in one of the interviews, she said, "I'll never forget the clinking of his belt buckle as he struggled to pull his pants off." Now, it seems like something very insignificant, but this is very important because it's something so benign, but something she remembered.
Yeah.
When you're a true victim and you're recalling the truth, you remember things that are insignificant like that.
Yes.
You remember things through your senses. Like, for example, if somebody has their hand over your mouth,
yes,
you'll hear victims say, "I remember the smell of Vaseline in that person's hand." Also, when she describes the events, she gives them to you very point blank. I was drugged. There was a T-shirt on me. I woke up with my panties down. She goes through that, and at the end, she gives you the emotional portion of it. All truthful indicators. And you know what else, Dr. Drew? Tell me if I'm wrong. Does this not remind you of Jerry Sandusky all over again?
Yeah, unfortunately, these sorts of victimizations always remind me of one another. And in this case, I agree with you. That business about her hearing the tinkling of the belt, victims usually will tell me they'll remember a color of the wallpaper, a breeze in the air, the smell of some cologne, something, and it's intense, and it is indelibly left in their memory.
Something random.
It's random.
Yes,
and
because
it's
they remember it with their senses.
And people don't, when they're making stuff up, they don't think about those highly specific sensory experiences. And 12 other women have made similar claims in the past 20 years. Cosby has not been prosecuted. His lawyers say, quote, decade-old discredited allegations against Mr. Cosby have resurfaced. The fact that they are being repeated does not make them true. Mr. Cosby does not intend to dignify these allegations with any comment. Lonnie, is that the right strategy?
Well, it's hard to figure out what the right strategy would be right now, because I'll tell you, we're in a different climate, a different atmosphere today, thank heavens, than we were 10 years, 20 years ago.
In what way?
First of all, we have social media, so people can get their story out there better, and you can get support back, a response to what you're going through. Second of all, there's such a greater awareness and understanding, and believe me, we have a lot farther to go, but people understand more the dynamics of sexual assault, of this predator behavior, of grooming, of what happens. And, back 20 years ago, somebody powerful who was a source of money for a lot of people, like Bill Cosby, there was no way some little victim, some young woman was going to be able to take them down.
Especially the guy that seems unassailable. He was America's dad.
Exactly.
Loved him.
We all loved him.
Leanne, let me ask you a tough question. It seems like men of a certain era kind of did that kind of grooming where they brought women in and told them they were going to make them stars, and then kind of said, all right, here's the bill for that. Did you ever have to deal with any of that? Did anyone you know ever have to deal with that?
No, thank God, Dr. Drew. I think all of your fans probably know by now my personality. I just have never been that person to sort of fall for those things. But look, he was grooming young girls.
If it's true, we got to remind ourselves there's been no charges. But go ahead.
Right. But where I always say where there's smoke, there's fire. 12 different people, Dr. Drew, something is going on. And what they all are saying, they were very young, just this girl that we're talking about, the blonde, she was 17 when her agent sent her from, I think, Colorado to live in New York. He paid for her bills. He paid for her apartment. He got her acting lessons. But he never got her a job.
Where
he
were
never
parents,
even got her
by the way,
a walk on set. But he's like, you're not ready.
Parents are going to allow their daughter to go to Los Angeles and be groomed by somebody just
Dr. Drew, when the biggest star in the world is telling you that your daughter might be the next biggest star, people believe that. It still happens in this day and age.
It does,
they dangle it like a carrot.
But you know what I'm talking about?
Exactly.
I mean, your dad would be like...
Oh, he would be all over it. And I had some incidents. I never engaged in those incidents, but I had a couple of, one with a huge producer who completely dangled that carrot and gave
was it come live with me and I'll give you a lesson?
It was like everything, yes.
Same story.
Kind of the same
story. But that's my point.
And
this is not an unheard of story in this town.
No,
people hear that story and they go, oh my God, this guy's a monster. And I'm saying, no, I think those guys did that. I don't know if he did it, but some guys were doing that kind of thing.
It still exists today, unfortunately. It still exists today, and they dangle that carrot saying, I'm going to make you a star.
Anybody else just outraged just as a woman? Is he right, Leanne? Isn't that part of the outrage here?
He was obviously using his power. He was using his status. He was using what they wanted. She wanted to be an actress. She wanted to be a movie star. Of course, you have a guy that's telling you, I'll bring you to New York. I will groom you. I will get you a job.
But I think there's a layer, if this is true, and I think I see it on Evie's face, which you're kind of wincing and look hurt by this whole thing. You have somebody you love on television, America's father. Now, it wasn't his fault that we all thought that way of him, I guess.
Right.
But then that's the guy that's sort of, if this is true, that's the guy acting this role out. Evie.
Yeah, if this is true, I mean, he's probably one of your worst predators. Think about that. You put out this image, hey, I'm this lovely, you know, if this is true. If this is true. But if you have that, you see the persona of someone, hey, I'm a friendly guy, I'm funny, I'm this and that. And then behind the scenes, you have these women, you're grooming them, and you're picking young women who are vulnerable, who are scared, and they're waiting all these years. And then when they do speak up, they're laughed at, or it's kind of brushed under the rug. And it's a very difficult thing.
Yeah, now we have, Lonnie, the day and age of social media when this stuff can't be swept aside the way it could have in the past. But Lonnie, you finish me up here.
Exactly, which is really important. And look, this one victim has been talking about this for the last 10 years, and nobody's really been paying attention to her. She's been giving interviews. A male comedian talks about it, it goes viral, and all of a sudden there's this swell in social media, and now we're all talking about it.